Hello all, welcome to this special Patreon-provided series. This is the prologue or announcement episode. Did I say who I was yet? Hi, I'm CP. You aren't. So over the holiday season, M4 Movies, who's a patron, sent me this book, and it inspired me to expand on this. This book is called Best Movie Year Ever by Brian RAFTEry. It's about all the films from 1999. Actually, it says how 1999 blew up the big screen. Before 1999, I think 1982 was often considered one of the biggest years for cinema. But 1999 is near and dear to me. So I'm going to make this series a bit personalized, and not exclusively personalized to me, but this is an open invitation. I've already approached some YouTubers about this, but I'll be putting up the films that were released in the time of year they were released on the screen now. And if any of these movies have some sort of special meaning to you and you'd like to be a part of the series, this is an open invitation. I just ask that you provide video. That's it. I would hope your audio quality is good, but beggars and choosers. I'm going to do at least 6 episodes. I think I might do 1 episode per month. I'm not looking, as I shoot this now, I'm not looking at the calendar. I know there's multiple things in May, June, and July, and I'll get to that in a second, why I know that. I'm not even talking about providing a review. Just, you can provide a review if you'd like, but just some sort, how that movie is important to you. And it's all wrapped around this case of the calendar year 1999. 1999 is tremendously important to me for a myriad of reasons. It has a lot to do with kicking off a lot of what the rest of my life ended up becoming. It was the first summer that I was able to work full-time at the movie theater, and I can't tell you how much fun I had, the camaraderie I had with my fellow employees. There are a bunch of people that I still speak to this day that I met in that summer of '99. I don't have to tell you that 1999 was a busy summer. If you know anything about Star Wars Episode 1, Phantom Menace came out that summer, and that really should be enough. But American Pie ended up being this ridiculous success that nobody saw coming. The Matrix was a big deal, although by the time I was working at the movie theater, The Matrix was on its tailspin. The Blair Witch Project, working that opening weekend, was ridiculous. It was a sensation. I can't explain to you the way you think of Avengers Endgame now is probably what I can compare it to, but you expected Avengers Endgame to be a big deal. Nobody expected Blair Witch Project to be as big a deal as it was. And we had shows going till 3:30 in the morning on Fridays and Saturdays. And that was like every half an hour. There was a midnight show at 12:15, at 12:30, at 12:45, a 1, a 1:30, a 2, a 2:30, and they were selling out. Because asshole teenagers, you guys get drunk before you go to the movies, and a lot of people couldn't handle the way Blair Witch is shot, and, well, I'll just say we cleaned up a couple of rounds of puke that weekend. Or that summer, I guess is what I could say. I remember that opening weekend just being a chore. People getting up, being nauseous, throwing up. You didn't really notice that something special was happening as far as cinema was concerned, because, I mean, essentially we're janitors. Of course, we took time to step into a theater and watch a minute or two here or there, or an early screening here or there. But there's stuff that went under the radar, like Magnolia. We were the independent theater on Long Island, and we were one of the few places that had Magnolia, and it just didn't get attention. I think we had it for 3 weeks, and it was down to our smallest theater within the first 3 weeks. And you know, Magnolia is an incredible movie, which I did see. I haven't grown into how much I appreciate Magnolia now. Then there's a lot looking back that I wish I can go back and re-experience that summer. There's a bunch of special things that happened in that summer, and a lot of it I tie to my experience at the theater, you know, me and a bunch of friends in a building cleaning up, selling retail shit to people who are taking part in what ended up being a special year for cinema. So they just kind of ran parallel. I have reference points to shoot personal stories off of. I know where I was the first Friday Blair Witch came out. I was mopping puke up at around 2 a.m. in the dark. The movie probably hasn't survived the test of time, but it was something. It was something happening. And don't forget that we have the Y2K. That was a big deal. Like, it was 1999 was a big deal for, again, personally, a bunch of different reasons. It was through these long nights that we would, as a crew, just all gather up, and because you know you're scheduled till midnight, and you're not leaving work until 4 a.m. and we're wired, and nobody else is awake at 4 a.m. So what we would do is we would go have a midnight snack at the diner, and that's where the camaraderie really kicked off. And again, I was a new guy back then. You know, stupid kid who's just trying to, I forgot what the hell, I think I was trying to pay for my car. So anyway, I you know, low man on the totem pole at the local movie theater. And something that you probably know about me by now is me making people laugh. I've grown into this, but is probably the most important thing to me. And I really got a taste for it back then. It was in those diner sessions that, as I would bitch about, I'm sure one of the moments was me bitching about the weekend of Blair Witch, where I had to shovel puke for 6 hours. And just, you know, making it funny. Like, I knew it was funny. It sucked for me, but I knew it was funny. And just knowing how to paint that picture. And it was through those stories that Alex, you know, the guy that everybody went to make them laugh, when I started having him rolling, and I mean rolling, that's what, like, it felt good. It felt good that the guy that everybody looks to make them laugh was laughing at the stuff I was saying. Again, I couldn't remember what the rest of the table was doing. I just remember him hunched over, you know, sounding like he's got a bronchial problem. And that kind of triggered something. That was late summer 1999. I eventually started really getting into the idea of doing it. You know, I liked what that feeling was, making people laugh. And I knew I was a bit of a ham. So I wanted to focus that effort. And I was always a fan of stand-up comedy. And sure enough, there's stuff that came out. Man on the Moon is a movie that came out in December of '99 with Jim Carrey. The Eddie Izzard special on HBO had just played that year, or at least it was playing on HBO at that point. And I really dug Eddie Izzard because it was funny, and I felt like I was learning at the same time. And that was something I normally didn't draw myself to. I was a really big observational guy, George Carlin, some would say Seinfeld. That was the type of humor that I really attracted to. But this Eddie Izzard line of comedy showed me that, all right, it doesn't have to be all one thing. And I learned that I was open to a bit more to perceive when it came to comedy. And one of my icons, Madeline Kahn, died in December of 1999. So with her dying, and my close friend Jen and I, we would quote Clue religiously. I think she brought it up to me to just try it. Just try stand-up just as a tribute to Madeline Kahn. And that's no joke, that's what I did in my first performance ever in December of 1999. Lisa Lampanelli was the MC, and I dedicated that show to Madeline Kahn. My second performance ever was December 1999. People walked out on me. And my third performance ever, which I think was 2000 by that point, but my comeback was a standing ovation on the third show. The first show was just, you know, rust, not rust, but green, just getting a feel for things. The second time was getting a rough lesson in timing and how to do things. And the third time, I completely won the crowd over, and that was it. I was hooked. And again, that was the beginning of 2000s. So we can get to that when it comes up. But spoiler, you know a little bit of what my Man on the Moon story is. I kind of gave you a bit of a sneak preview of what I plan to do. And like I told you about Blair Witch Project, I'll be certain to do similar stories, and I'll focus a little bit more. It'll be 60-40 personal to the movies, because I'll talk about Phantom Menace and the film itself and Magnolia and oh, the weird people that went to see Eyes Wide Shut. That's a story in itself. Again, consider this an open invitation to my fellow YouTubers. Again, I've asked a couple of you already, but if this idea turns you on to something, and there's something that's important to you as far as 1999 cinema is concerned, the experience doesn't have to be from 1999. I just need you to associate it to a film. And again, my release schedule will be by the calendar year. So if there's something from January, again, I haven't seen it. You have seen it, and it's there for you. Reach out to me as soon as you can, because I'm working. I'm working on episode 1 of the best movie year ever. Maybe we can get Brian RAFTERY in an interview. That would be exciting, huh? So the next time we see you for this will be to talk about January 1999, and how it relates to cinema and me. Thank you so much. If you like the idea, please let me know. If you want to be around for the rest of the episodes, be sure to subscribe and click that bell to be notified of when this happens. Once again, thank you to patrons for making this happen. And I've been CP. You haven't.